sleeping rough and eating pies for the last year. The slides are just a little bit old. So tonight I'm just going to talk about obviously after that introduction, I'm going to talk about the skills that you need to go on a trip like this and the skills that you require along the way. The analogy I'm going to use is marriage. Either very brave or very stupid, because my wife's sitting in the front row. I think I was going to call my talk feet and mouth. So I'm just going to go to the skills we went through. Obviously your boat is like your partner on the trip. So when you're going on a trip like this, you obviously want a good partner or a good boat. So you look at the kind of journey you're going to go on. You look at the challenges you think you're going to face. You look at the qualities you'd like in your partner or your boat. And obviously you have a budget. So when you you find the perfect partner, the perfect boat, you go and get the paperwork done. Obviously if it's marriage, you go and get your marriage certificate. For Yachtmaster, I went off and got my Yachtmaster license and I got my diving instructor license. And that's really where the problems start. Because once you've got the piece of paper in your hand, two things happen. The first thing is you think you're in control. And the second thing is you think you've got the skills to do the job. And nothing could be further from the truth. So tonight I'm just going to talk about the skills that you acquire through the trip and the skills that you need to go on a trip like this. The trip was broken down into 3 legs. First leg was UK down to Panama. Second leg was Panama to Patagonia. And the third leg was Patagonia across to Cape Town. So just a little bit of the lessons on each leg. The first leg, down, we were coming down from Portugal and we were heading to Madeira. That's not me. The first leg, we were coming to Madeira, and Madeira got hit by the worst storm they'd had in 10 years. We didn't get into Madeira. We got into Lanzarote. There were about 10 boats sunk in Madeira harbour. There was a boat sunk off Lanzarote. We got into Lanzarote. We had 2 blown mainsails, and a big wave had broken over the boat, ripped off the dodger, ripped off the instrument panel. Water had got into the electrics. We had no instruments. And we got off fairly lightly for that storm, because there was a couple of boats dismasted and everything else, so we got off quite lightly. On the crossing, the 21-day crossing to the Caribbean, we rewired the whole boat, and we hand-stitched the sails by hand, which is quite a big job. In the Caribbean, we were coming into Bequia, did an overnight passage from St. Vincent into Bequia. We did our last tack just off Bequia, 5 o'clock in the morning. As we tacked, there was a rigging failure. The mast split at the spreaders. The whole rig went over the side of the boat, the sails, rig, everything. We were sort of scrambling around on the deck in the hydraulic fluid, trying to get the rig under control and stop the mast beating a hole in the side of the boat. And this massive cruise liner pulled up right next to us. And the captain and all the passengers were leaning over the railing, looking almost directly down on top of us. And the captain shouted down and said, "Are you okay?" And I sort of, what do you say to something like that? And I said, "Our mast has fallen off the boat." And he said, "I can see that." So fortunately we had insurance. I took the boat to Martinique, went back to the UK, went to go and earn some more sailing coupons. Took another year to get the boat back in the water, re-rigged the whole boat, got the mast on again, went through the Panama Canal, turned left to Panama, which is really, really silly. It's the worst possible trip you can do. It's probably one of the hardest sailing trips you can do on the planet. It's into the current, into the wind, the whole way down the continent. It's a cold current coming up the coast against the desert coastline. So you've got this mist. So it's just unpleasant. I have no idea why we did it. It was really, really stupid. So it's six months down the whole continent. We crossed the equator wearing balaclavas. We navigated the whole way down the coastline using Captain Cook's charts. They were the most accurate, amazing man. Another thing I wanted was a photograph of the boat in front of a glacier. So there's San Rafael Lagoon in the canals. It's quite tricky getting in. You've got to sort of tuck behind the headland. You wait, the tide changes, these icebergs come charging out. You sneak around the headland, you get up to the glacier, you take your photograph, you come out again before the tide changes and the icebergs come back in. So it's quite tricky. We got in and out okay, but what actually happened was a change in temperature from the salt water to the fresh water in the lagoon cracked the head on the engine. So that was quite a story. We were in the canals. It was quite a job replacing that. We had to replace the head gasket about 3 or 4 times. Eventually got the motor fixed, which got us as far as the Falklands. As we were leaving the Falklands, left the Falklands, blew the engine again. Had another gasket, replaced it. The head was cracked, so it didn't work. So I think the point is that the first time I changed the gasket was in the canals. It took me 8 hours, literally reading the manual and turning the bolt at the same time. I had no idea what I was doing. The last time I changed the gasket, it was in a 4.6 at sea, and it took me 40 minutes. So you pick skills apps. And then obviously navigating across, we had no power meant no GPS, so we had to navigate by sextant. So we actually navigated the whole way by sextant. First time we took a sextant reading, sextant fix, it took us about 3 hours to get a fix, and we were in 15 miles accuracy. Towards the end, we were doing fixes in about 15 minutes and getting 1 to 2 miles of accuracy on our fixes, which is pretty good. So the point is, all of the skills we needed on the trip, we didn't have when we left England. Re-rigging the boat, rewiring the boat, fixing the motor, the navigation by sextant, we didn't have those skills when we left. So getting back to the marriage analogy, when that happy day when you get your piece of paper in your hand, it's not a certificate of competence, it's a learner's license. So, and obviously, the trip, if you look after the boat looks after you, you finish your trip. And that's great, but what you want to do is have a successful trip, means you want to enjoy the trip. And obviously that comes down to people and the people skills. So it's a high pressure environment on the boat. So whatever, like marriage, whatever people skills you take into the situation, they will be lacking. What the best you can hope for from anybody is you look for 2 things in people. You look for a positive outlook, and you look for a sense of humor. And if you've got that, you can get through anything. So sort of going through the whole trip, we learned what we needed to learn along the way. What do you need to go on a trip like this? I'd say there are sort of 3 skills levels. There's the basic skills to get the boat moving. There's the deep skills, which we learned, the navigation, the motor, the wiring, the electrics, the stitching of the sails. And then there's the people skills. The basic skills, I assume, to go on a trip like this, you would have them. The deep skills, can you learn those skills before you go? Absolutely not. You can't learn them. This is too much. You don't know what's going to go wrong. You don't know what the challenges are going to be. You don't know what issues you're going to face, so you can't learn those skills. So when are you ready to go on a trip like this? The people skills, of course, it comes down to your attitude. And if you've got a positive attitude, you can control it. It's in your control. So looking at the skills that you need to go on a trip like this, you just need the basic skills and then go, because you pick up everything else along the way.